Oh, I try to stay away from videos like this because I find them silly, but viewers have requested this video for a long time, so ladies and gentlemen, it is once again time for an updated tour of my studio and game space. Let's get into it.
Oh, yeah!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. Welcome to a special video. This is a different video, and it's different from what we usually cover on this channel. Usually we're talking about politics. We're talking about all the crazy things going on in the government. And today, well, a lot of people in the comments, anytime we do live streams, which you should join us for every Sunday night here on the channel at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. But a lot of my community constantly say, dude, how many arcades do you have back there? What kind of space is that? It looks really fun. And people requesting a room tour. So I kind of thought, hey, you know what? It's a little slow in the news right now. Let's just do a room tour. Now, again, I don't enjoy these kind of videos. If this is your kind of thing, then fair enough. I'm happy to share it with you guys. But again, just something a little extra for the community this week, and I thought it'd be fun. So let's jump right into it. And we'll take a look into this space and some of the cool things that are sitting around my room, and maybe discuss some of the collectibles that are hanging around this room. Now, of course, we see here, this will be the start of the tour. This is right in front of where I put my camera. Now, every time I do my video setup for YouTube recording, I actually bring out my desk, my equipment, I take it all down, I set it up again the next time I'm going to record. Because, well, the space that I'm in isn't just my recording studio. This is also our house, like our family room in our house. So as you come down into my game room slash living room, I'll start where my full replica proton pack is sitting alongside a lot of my electronics. Um, Let me actually mute the volume so that we're not getting a lot of ambient sound. So of course we have my my proton pack there, my desktop. Now up here in the top corner in the right, you can see again a prop keyblade replica from the Kingdom Hearts video games. If you're into those things, I've got a couple of Deadpool signed comics from Rob Liefeld up on the wall there. Rob Liefeld, of course, signed those on my son Wade's second birthday when we met with him, and he was so thrilled that we named our son after Deadpool that he signed a couple of comics for us. But as we move into the corner of my home theater, of course, there are some wires dangling down. I'm in the process of moving those around. But you can see I've got a collection of mini arcades, and we'll scroll along those. But right behind those mini arcades is a framed comic book as well. That comic book I've talked about to great length on the channel before. That is signed by Stan Lee. Now, before getting into How the Prime Minister Stole Freedom, put out a novel book. I had plans to do a 5-part novel series that was kind of like a Harry Potter with superheroes. And I launched the first book, and when I was launching it out, I actually connected with Stan Lee, and he helped me a lot with character development. I met him at a comic convention in Calgary back in 2012, and he was generous enough to say that he liked my material. I pitched him what I was doing. He gave me his contact information, and when we were just about to launch the book was actually the year he passed away. And unfortunately, when I reached out to Stan, I said, we've talked multiple times, we've met, and I feel bad because we've always been talking about my work. We've never had a chance to really talk about, fanboying over Marvel. And I said, I've never even had anything to bring for you to sign. And he says, well, what can I send you? And I said, really, Stan, I'm grateful that you'll send me anything. Just nothing with Captain Marvel on it, because look, he's got it. Stan, if you know Stan Lee, he had a huge problem with Superman being overpowered. And I said, Captain Marvel to me is just, it's a bit of a push. I don't want to be insulting, but she's too overpowered. There's no real explanation behind what she is, and they've rebooted the comics so many times. So just nothing with Captain Marvel, please. And he kind of chuckled and said, okay. Now, he passed away about a month and a half later, and still nothing came in the mail. I thought that opportunity had sailed, that unfortunately we couldn't get anything out to him. He couldn't get anything to me. My wife gave me this box Christmas Day of that year, and, well, inside the box was this Captain Marvel comic of Civil War II, signed by Stan Lee. So a really great troll. I know for those who have been here from the beginning, we've talked about that before, but anybody who's new, I thought it'd be a fun story to share. So there's my Captain Marvel signed Stan Lee comic. You can see his silver pen kind of in the bottom corner there. Again, for me, this isn't a monetary thing. I keep it there as a reminder because he was nice enough to give me his time. He loved his fans, and I am grateful for everything he did for me, and I keep that there just as a kind of a memorial to him. Now, as we scroll along here again, more mini arcades. I've got a fake first appearance of Superman action comics up on the wall. But over here is my Back to the Future shrine. I am a huge Back to the Future fan. You can see this poster I've got up top of the DeLorean going into all the different time periods of the movies. But down here, of course, the same comic conventions at which I met Stan Lee, is my Gray's Sports Almanac. Now, this is a fully readable um, copy of the almanac, and I've had it signed by Christopher Lloyd. I've had it signed by Tom Wilson, who also played Biff in the Back to the Future movies, and right down there on the bottom, Michael J. Fox, who graced us with his presence at the Comic-Con the year after the photo that's in the middle of this frame, where I met with Christopher Lloyd and got his signature. My wife and I also took a picture with him at the DeLorean. Of course, my wife over the year has accumulated memorabilia for me. The Gray Sports Almanac, as you can see down there, came with the Blast from the Past receipt from the year 2015 and Back to the Future Part 2. I've got a license plate in there, as well as a poster cover of Back to the Future Part 2. Really cool. Now, this framed award down here was an award given to me when I launched my novel series. I based the town that my character was from after where I grew up in Winnipeg, naming the town after my old community. And the school board in Winnipeg, in which got wind of what I was doing, invited me down to kind of do a little bit of press junket when that book launched. And they presented me with this award as being a pillar of the community, and I always appreciated that. Of course, up here, my hoverboard along with the Back to the Future 2 baseball cap and my lightsabers, which we've talked about after I took the kids to Disney this last fall. Now we're getting into more of the collectibles. Now, again, I have a hanging coin block lamp there. I should have turned that on for the video. More collectibles, of course, pop vinyls. Down in the bottom there, you can see my dear friend Tamara Leach's book, Hold the Line, as well as boxed video game collectibles, my signed copy of Jordan B. Peterson's 12 Rules for Life from when we met back in February, and that's proudly on display in my cabinet. All my amiibos are up top, my boxed amiibos. Those are tiny Nintendo figures that are up top on the shelf. Of course, I have a Sonic, Mario statues, boxed NES games. Now, it's not just those 4 games. Those go back a couple games deep. But those are ones that I have nostalgia for, ones that I've collected and kept in my game collection. Previous to owning arcade machines, I had about 500 games out of the NES library, and I sold them off to develop this room and essentially pay for a new habit, which ended up being arcades. But I kept the games that I had nostalgia for. And of course, there's my Power Glove, my childhood Super Nintendo sitting on the shelf, as well as my Nintendo Classic and Mini NES sitting below it. I've got my Rob the Robot on top of my childhood Nintendo Entertainment System. As well in the corner there with Captain America's shield, I have my, I think it's called a Telstar Coleco Arcade. Now, that is a system that came out in the 1970s. It was like a Pong system that had a revolver gun on one side, driving steering wheel on the other, and then a Pong console on the third. Triangular arcade system, really weird. But my brother-in-law got me that as a gift, and I proudly display it at all times. Down below that, of course, my entire ColecoVision, Intellivision, and Atari collection, just in case I ever feel the need to pop in some of those games and play them. Up top of my window, where we sit in our family room, I've got my 4 quarter-scale 1989 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, as well as my Mario statue and my Infinity Gauntlet. Again, this is all just stuff I've collected over the years. All these little video game perler designs on the wall my wife did for my game room. She's got her Proton Pack backpack hanging up top of our electrical panel. Now, this electrical panel, when we moved into the house, was just plain wood. My wife cut out all of these video game boxes and marquees from arcades, and she did like a Mod Podge all over top of the plain wooden board, just so that it would look a little bit more themed to this room, and I always liked that. Of course, we move over to, well, the scenery you guys are used to seeing, which, of course, is my arcade. This is where I have my pinball machine. my restored Donkey Kong Jr., as well as my three-quarter scale arcades. Now, a reason I collect these three-quarter scale arcade systems is because during the pandemic, when my kids were stuck in the house, we would buy these and then build them as a family. My kids really took to the first arcade machine that I was given. They enjoyed it so much that I kind of said, okay, I've got all this money left over from selling my game collection. My kids will never see what an original arcade looked like, so we'll kind of bring that to them. And we would always, anytime these machines would come out, we'd build them as a family. We'd take a couple of days, have some fun with it, get the kids involved, and then they'd get the joy of playing the games once they were finished. So we've kind of accumulated a few over time. But up top, of course, my toy collections. I grew up in the 1980s and I was big into Masters of the Universe. So, of course, when they re released the Master of the Universe toys, I had to make sure I bought the entire set because, of course, I have an addiction when it comes to making sure that if I'm going to collect, I go full in. So, of course, there's the re release Castle Grayskull alongside some of the vehicles and figures, all proudly displayed on that shelf. The Boxed Snake Mountain re release. Over top here, I've got my Ghostbusters. You'll notice the camera kind of focuses in better once I zoom in a certain amount. My 1984 Ghostbusters figures, along with my mini puffs that came with my Proton pack, sitting up top on the shelf there, as well as my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Universal Monsters. I really liked that collection, so I ended up collecting the set of that. Of course, another boxed Nintendo Entertainment System. So the robot that you've seen earlier on top of my childhood NES, I have three Nintendo Entertainment Systems. This one in the box, my childhood one that sits on my shelf, and then I've also got the original boxed what was called the deluxe set. Now, the deluxe set came with Rob the Robot. It was a New York launch set for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, that is complete in box, and I keep that outside of my game room, of course, because I don't want my kids to ruin such a rare box, which is also why a lot of these things are high up in my room, because I do have kids below the age of 5 that will ultimately get their hands on that and destroy it. Of course, more 1989 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures alongside Casey Jones in front of a boxed turtle blimp alongside my arcades. And again, don't need to go too much into explanation with those because you guys see those on every video. Now, scooting over here, this is usually to my right or your left when you're watching my videos. This is my Multicade, as well as just kind of a little corner at the bottom of the stairs. Up top here, you'll see me zoom in here. I've got the proof that Tony Stark has a heart arc reactor that does light up. Again, I apologize. I should have had that powered on for the video, alongside some die-cast Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures. Good old Boglins. I don't know if you guys remember Boglins from the 1980s. I bought those for my toy collection. Love those. Good old Macho Man sitting on top of my Xbox mini fridge and next to my payphone. Now, this was something I wanted to put in the basement just as like nostalgia. This is an actual working payphone that I have in my game room. A lot of people come over. My kids play with it all the time. They love it. Now, unfortunately, because of my kids playing with it, I had to disconnect the phone just so that, you know, they're not accidentally calling emergency services or something. But this arcade over here, next to my Xbox fridge, this is a Multicade. This is an At Games Legends arcade. If you look at the control deck, this comes with, now I've modified the bat top joysticks, but it does come with two 6-button joysticks, two spinners, and a trackball, meaning that this machine, once loaded with coin ops, which is what's running on it right now, has roughly about 6,000 to 7,000 arcade games on it, including games like Golden Tee and whatnot. So it's kind of an all-in-one arcade, and this is part of the reasons why that machine will always stay in my collection. I love it to death. I think it's one of the best arcades that I've bought for money to value to date. Of course, there's the side of my Fast and Furious machine, which used to be behind my set and was moved. And we move over towards the back of my basement with my NFL Blitz arcade, as well as more Masters of the Universe on the wall, original Ghostbusters from the 1980s sitting on the wall. I've got, of course, a big Dragon's Lair poster sitting in the background there with my NFL Blitz arcade and some other stuff on the walls. So we move to the back. I've got a Rick and Morty light below my boxed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figure collection from the 1980s, as well as more arcade games, a Ghost Trap, some boxed G.I. Joes, Halo Needler, and of course, more Masters of the Universe. That is a full set, by the way, to date anyways, of the current re-release of Masters of the Universe. Aside from some Comic-Con exclusives, I've made sure that I've always got every character in the set. My 7-year-old son, when he was 3 and 4, during lockdowns, he was telling me that we used to watch Masters of the Universe because I've got it on DVD. And he always told me, I wish I had those toys. I wish I could have played with those. And they happened to re-release them starting in 2020. So we had a deal together where, hey, if they, if we're gonna collect these, I want them for nostalgia because, of course, they come in their original boxes. They look the way they did in the 1980s. So I said, I'm going to collect them, but we'll buy 2 of everything so that he can open a box and play with them. And of course, I keep this collection so that, one day, when I'm dust, maybe my kids can move it along for a little bit of financial help. And if not, maybe they'll want to open it and play with it and share it with my grandkids, and I'd be okay with that too. Of course, down here in the corner with arcades, I've got my all-in-one Neo Geo MVSX, as well as my Capcom Marvel 2. There's a 40th anniversary He-Man, as well as some Masters of the Universe Hot Wheels, box G.I. Joe's, Sega Master System, alongside my Chuck E. Cheese bank that I got in the 90s at Chuck E. Cheese. It was either late 80s, early 90s. I've actually got a couple of tokens left over from Chuck E. Cheese in that bank that I was saving for my next trip, but I'm so glad I never spent them because tokens are something you don't even see anymore at Chuck E. Cheese. Of course, the mini Commodore 64, my boxed Super Nintendo, as well as just some other memorabilia, some other toys, mini puffs, again, that came with my Proton pack. And there's my Outrun machine, as well as, again, my Fast and Furious, alongside my poster that I made. I made this poster for my wall. I really liked that they took the first appearance of Wolverine versus the Hulk and made it into a Jason versus Freddy poster. So I've got that sitting next to my Outrun machine with my box G.I. Joes and my micro Transformers. I really like those micro sets. I think they're kind of cool. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the full tour of my game room. That is what you see behind me whenever we do these videos. And again, this wasn't a show off piece. This wasn't a flex. People have been asking for a long time, what is behind this wall? What is behind everything there? How many arcades are there? Keep in mind, these aren't all of my arcades either. My kids have a couple in their room. I've moved some over to my father's that have a little bit of sentimental value that came from my mother before she passed. So I've got them all over the place. So these aren't all of my machines, but these are the ones that I keep in this room. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, probably won't do many videos like this in the future. I just, we've been climbing so much with our subscribers, and positivity has been in the comments section, and people have been asking. I figured, hey, what the heck? It's a holiday Monday. Let's do a fun video, and if people want to see it, they can see it. And if not, then at least I've done what I can for those who wanted it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If it's your first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Please hit that subscribe button and join us on the channel for more political videos as we move forward on the channel. And join us this week as Danielle Smith, Premier of Alberta, will be joining me here on the channel for a brief interview talking about the Alberta Pension Plan, amongst other subjects with oil and gas and the carbon tax. I'm looking very forward to sitting down with her, and I hope you guys look forward to that interview as well. I hope you guys have a great, wonderful rest of your day. Pardon my stammering there. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll catch you on the next one. Take it easy.